Hi Gerry, how are you doing? You alright?
I am splendid, thank you very much.
Good. So obviously we're here sitting in Tynecastle. We're approaching the Foundation of Hearts Day, so we thought it'd be a good time to have a wee chat, talk about all things Foundation Day, what's been happening in and around Hearts from a Foundation perspective, and then obviously the future as well. So what have we got? Foundation of Hearts, are you looking forward to the Foundation Day?
We very much are. I think the Foundation Day is really an opportunity for us to just demonstrate the relevance and the prominence of the Foundation to the club. I think people have got varying different levels of awareness to the Foundation. For some people, they're full-on pledgers, and it's been really important, and they understand the history, and they've been on part of the Foundation, pledging to it since day one, or they volunteered to it. For others, it's something that their dad does, or something that their granddad does, and it's not that relevant. And you know, the ultras are kind of a much more relevant movement for them in terms of the fabric of the club. So I think for us, the Foundation Day is really about just starting the ball rolling on raising that level of awareness amongst a much broader population of the Heart supporter base, just so that it does feel like we've got an enduring purpose.
Have you found that like a hard bridge to get between those two bits, or?
Yeah, I think it has been actually. It surprised me slightly. Obviously I'm kind of a bit of a blow-in. I'm kind of a Hearts fan for 5 years, but you know, I like to say, it was by choice rather than by accident of birth.
My dad to blame.
Exactly. I had a choice and I made a choice and I made the right choice.
Yep.
Glad to say that. But so the Foundation, whenever I started looking at Hearts, the Foundation was really obvious to me. I guess if you grow up and you move in a different circle, it's become clear to me you don't necessarily see it like that, or it's not part of your movement. And that's that's fine. I guess the more I've looked at it, the more that I understand. The Foundation has about 8,000 to 8,500 people who pledge to it on a monthly basis, but they're pretty much the same people that have done it since day one, and obviously nobody gets any younger. So you know you can just, if you just play that out, if you don't get many new members in, then time will take its toll on all of us. So I think if we want the foundation to be something which is beneficial to the club for the longer term, then it's really important that you start thinking about, okay, well, we need to keep fresh blood coming in here.
It's funny because one of the things I've said, and it's a brilliant byproduct to having been a well-run club, is that, and you spoke about the ultras there, one of the things I've realised about now we've got Camp Cs, folk don't really remember what you're supposed to do when you're not fighting to save a stadium, or fighting to save the club, or fighting a chairman. And now it's like, and a byproduct of that is that you got 8,000-9,000 pledgers that are right, I'm giving you my money, I want to save the club. And now it's like the next guys that come through, they'll hopefully, touch wood, will never have to live that life where they have to protect the club. So it's, how do you get those guys that don't know that actually you need to pledge? You need to make sure that this is how we keep and safeguard the future of the club. So what are the plans to try and get those next guys coming up? Is there anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, I think so. So first of all, establishing the relevance, the purpose of the Foundation, I think is going to be really important. Like you said, the Foundation started to save the club from insolvency. The second purpose then, once it had done that, was to take the club into fan ownership. Now both of those missions are completed. So there'd probably be a school of thought, people would say, well, job's done, why do you need the Foundation anymore? And I think the thinking of the Foundation itself has evolved as we've been through that, and it's now, okay, well, we're the shareholding body that owns 75.1% of the club. What do we do? So we're now the custodians of the club for the longer term. How do we make sure that it never goes back to the way that it was? So what do you need to put in place to make sure that keeps going? And the second thing is, look, money is highly correlated with success in football. So the funds that we contribute to the club on an ongoing basis do make a difference in terms of performance on the pitch. And so making it clear, I think that we do and can make a difference to the success of the club, I think is the first point. I think there's something deeper beyond that as well. We're kind of, I think, a really unique movement in football. There isn't really anything like the foundation out there where people willingly put their hands in their pockets every month and they don't really get anything back other than seeing the club survive and seeing it thrive. So I think that's something that uniqueness, I think, could and should be part of the DNA of the club, of every supporter, not just the cohort that remember it. Remember when it nearly died, and the cohort that saved it. I think there's a duty to pass that on to a future generation. The starting point is just getting that message across, and that's the thinking behind the foundation days. Let's just raise awareness.
Yep. Do you think it's one of the things that I say it all the time when I come to Tynecastle, that we need a much bigger presence for the foundation than the actual stadium? Every day should every home game should feel like a foundation day. Are there plans to sort of try and get the foundation message more widespread across the stadium and stuff?
I think that's exactly where we start. The first thing to say is every penny that we raise, with the exception of a few costs for the actual costs of hosting our website and collecting the funds, all then goes straight into the club, right? So we don't employ anybody. So the foundation is all staffed by volunteers. They're all people who've got very busy day jobs and they carve out a wee bit extra time in order to be able to do this. We're fortunate now that we've developed or recruited some really capable people in our marketing group, and actually that group is full of ideas and full of energy to start to push the message out a little bit more. So things like the foundation day, things like another version of the Pledge Your shirt are the products of the hard work of our marketing group, and I think we will start to see increasing presence in the stadium. We've already seen increasing presence online. I mean, there's a guy called James Sluggy who's been doing a huge amount of work in terms of pushing our social media presence. We'll start to see increasing amounts of email campaigns coming out to people. People who've never pledged before, but where they're on the club database, or people who have been lapsed pledgers in the past. So, market it's not a one and done thing. I think if you want to keep relevant and keep top of mind, you've just got to keep building and increasing your visibility.
Do you ever see a future or a world where we would have some full-time guys within the foundation as it gets bigger and the more money we make, and if we get the pledgers that we want? Is that an avenue that you think will ever go down? I'm not massively in favour of it. I mean, I think we collaborate with the club, and the club gives us good level of support. Particularly, you've got Misha, and you've got Robert Borthwick and other people who will work to support us very well. I think the club has got a lot of expertise. It's got good technology, and I'd like to see us just capitalising more on the capacity of the club and the professionalism of the club there. Every additional person or every additional pound that we spend on something else, is a pound that we don't put into the club. I'm sure there's a way that we can improve our level of collaboration. Yep. And if you need people to volunteer, can people get in touch and stuff like that?
100%. I mean, I think one of the things we need to do, and we're trying to learn from Big Hearts in this regard, is how we recruit and manage and guide our volunteers, because we do have a lot of people who have expressed an interest in to do it, but actually even managing volunteers takes quite a lot of effort and expertise to do it. But I definitely would encourage anybody to get in contact with the foundation through the info@Foundation of Hearts email. But make sure you pledge first before you do that.
Well, we've been on the podcast ourselves. We've been saying that over the last wee while, as well as obviously I've been very fortunate I get to talk to yourself. I get to interact with the guys in the marketing team as well. So I've been fortunate in that sense. And when you go, it's great because you can tell that they're so passionate about the club and all that, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
But you need more voices. You need all different types of voices, because I think we're very good at what we've said before. Is we've got that core group of people locked in, and it's like, well, how do we now engage the next guys that are going to be that core? So if anybody does want to help, then like I said, follow the link or get in contact, and we'll make sure that they're put into use as well, because the more voices, the better.
100%. And this is a club which is owned by its supporters, and its future success depends on its supporters. And I know people like to support in the stands, but you know, there's so much more that we can do to ensure the success other than just cheering and tifos, you know.
Exactly. I'm painting my bed sheets now when you anyway. So obviously the Foundation of Hearts Day is coming up on the home game. Is it the 1st of September?
Right.
That's when it is. Are there any targets attached to it? Is there any like X amount of people? Are you not going to put yourself under that type of pressure? You just want to spread the word for this one?
Yeah, so this is the first step, and you know, I'd like to see us doing a foundation day like this at least on an annual basis, maybe more frequently than that, and maybe the perpetuation of the marketing message maybe at a lower level on a more frequent basis. We do have clear longer term goals, so we've got about 8,500 pledgers. We want to go to 15,000 pledgers. We contribute about £1.5 million quid. We want to, you know, put another £1 million quid a year on top of that. You know, when you think about it, we've contributed £17 million so far, or raised £17 million so far for the club. So, you know, there's you know, the sky's the limit for us in terms of what more we can do.
I think that story gets enough traction, because we obviously live and breathe it every day. We own our club and we saved our club, but when you actually think about the landscape of football, it's an unbelievable story, really, isn't it? Yeah,
I mean, nobody who does this is doing it for recognition or publicity. I think there's another level that we can take it to within the fan base of the club before we go looking for any external recognition. I think there's even more that we can do.
Yeah, it's a good football, such a sort of dry vacuum of a place now, especially when you look at on our doorstep, we've got the English Premier League. It's soulless compared to this, if you know what I mean. It's more, not so much about good recognition, but you'd think more people were championing how good a story this is.
I think Scottish football on the whole doesn't get the recognition that it deserves. Both in terms of the quality of the product and also in terms of the level of support that it has relative to the size of the population.
Yeah. So you touched on there about some of the special projects, and obviously one of the high ticket value ones for the Foundation of Hearts is the Maroon Mile. Yeah. Do you want to talk us through a bit, say, the project?
Yeah, so the Maroon Mile is an amazing project. I think it was originally the brainchild of Alistair Bruce and a few others in the foundation, which they introduced to the club, and the club has run with it in a big way. Anne Park in particular, and the community side of the club has run with it. So the foundation, along with the club, has got the support of the National Lottery Heritage Fund, £207,000, in order to be able to kind of have a project which both marks the 150th anniversary of the club, recognises the position of the club in Gorgie and Dalry, and also looks to leave an enduring legacy which recognises the importance of the club in the community, and also tries to put a little bit more back into the community in terms of getting more tourists involved, getting more activity in the local area, and just seeing a bit more economic growth around here as well. So, you know, the concept is between the stadium and the memorial at Haymarket, it's approximately a mile. There's two, you know, kind of clear physical places that kind of bookmark the end of the stretch, which, you know, hijacking the concept of the Royal Mile, we can inject an awful lot more interest in. The project itself is due to run through to October 2025, and there's a number of initiatives planned. First of all, we've rejuvenated the memorial at Haymarket. Gary Halliday in particular has put blood, sweat and tears, and I think that, you know, there's a lot of tears actually involved in that. And he had some other help as well, but I think he did most of it himself. Gary Mackay even got involved. And it's been, you know, so everybody knows the importance of the memorial, which I guess we pay attention to one day a year, but largely ignore apart from that. And, you know, I think the dignity of that memorial has been eroded over the years, both with the way that the road system has gone and also just the wear and tear on the memorial itself. So if anybody hasn't been to see it, you know, the rejuvenation of it as well is spectacular. And I think Gary probably deserves his own memorial, simply for the work that's put into that. Never mind everything else he's done for the club. So you've got that at one end, and the idea is there will be a heritage trail with an audio walking tour, some new street signage, which again, in line with the Royal Mile, recognises the fact that this is a special district.
Yep.
The project will look at kind of recording an audio history of Gorgie. It'll particularly look at the role of the club in the community. It'll look at the history of the community, and it'll look at things like the role of women's football in the community and the role that Tynecastle has played in that. And then it'll culminate in improved displays at the Hearts Museum as well. So, the idea is that there's something for local businesses to capitalise on. It becomes another marketing hook. It becomes another reason for people to come and visit the area, and the whole thing should just allow the kind of the broader economic development of the community to layer up from that.
Yeah, I think it's what you touched on it there about Scottish football. It's one of the things of Scottish football where obviously we're very lucky this season that we'll travel to European cities and they're all so proud of their football teams, everywhere. But you come to Edinburgh or Glasgow or wherever, unless you walk past here or know that it's here, there's very little to say. But by the way, we've got a couple of football teams in the capital of this country, so it's something I think that fans will resonate with because it's something that's been missing for a long time, and I think the little spots to stop in the audio trail, I think it really helps. So it's something that for me, I can't encourage anybody else listening to the podcast enough to get in contact, get involved. I think they're still gathering stories, they're wanting to hear stories and memorabilia and things as well. So we'll put the links in this to get in contact with the people because it's a great project. So we should be proud of, I think.
Well, wherever you go, football's a working class sport, and every football stadium that you go into is inevitably deep in some working class area. Particularly, you go to the old stadiums, and communities like to have something that they can coalesce around, and I think that this community and the club have supported each other for 150 years. So actually being able to recognise the role that the two have played, I think is fantastic. And given that the foundation is born out of the fan base of the club, I think it's really, really important for us to be involved in that as well. So the whole thing just feels a real no-brainer and really positive for us.
And it feels like it fits in with the club's brand, if you know what I mean. Now it feels like it's the right thing to do too.
Correct. And again, going back to so we had the march with Leyton Orient whenever they came for the friendly, and thinking about the historical links, the war memorial, the links between the two clubs. Again, that was a perfect opportunity to kind of showcase the Maroon Mile and launch that. It launched that whole initiative. So feels good.
Yep. So obviously some of the other projects that the foundation have got is we've got the new owners kit coming out as well. Yeah.
So we're encouraging people to sign up as a pledger as quickly as they can, just to make sure they get their name on the kit. I can't guarantee that, with so many names, you don't need a jeweller's eyeglass in order to be able to read it. And apologies to anybody if your name ends up being obscured by the badge or in the armpit.
I think I've been in an armpit before in that kit.
That's a good job it wasn't shorts.
That's very true.
But yeah, so it worked very well in the past, and I think it's kind of a nice bonus which is only available to members. So I hope people wear it with pride. But I think that the next thing is to be more in contact with people either who may have been former pledgers in the past or have never pledged, and to just encourage them to think about it. I think the marketing group is bursting with ideas, actually, and not entirely sure which of the ideas is going to make the cut and which isn't, but we're certainly not short of potential projects. But it's not about, to me, it's not about the gimmicks, and it's not about, promotions, and it's not about rewards. It's about getting the message across. And ultimately, I think people don't pledge to the foundation because they want to see their name on a shirt. And we're not going to make a lot of money out of that shirt. They pledge to the foundation because they want to see the club succeed, and that's what it's all about.
And again, I'd encourage anybody that you have to be involved if you think that you want your voice to be heard in a different way, or for the ideas to be put across differently, you got to get involved. That's the joy of what we have, isn't it?
That's exactly right. I mean, the door is open for anybody to get involved, and there's so many different aspects of the club or the support base or whatever that you can get involved in, depending on your time, your expertise, and your interest. Whether it's Big Hearts, the foundation, the ultras,
Yep.
any of the fan associations, or if you just want your pint and your pie, well, grand, but come along and sing up and stay till the end.
Exactly, you got to. I think Foundation of Hearts Day, you've got a couple of initiatives for in and around the stadium to get people to join up and sign up and stuff as well. Again, I think we'll be in and around helping. There's a couple of QR codes and stuff to help make it easier and fit in with the cool kids with your QR codes.
That's us. We're
Couple of cool cats.
Young men like us.
Exactly.
Yeah, but the point isn't about to do anything very much on the day. It's about raising awareness. So everybody will come away with a card. They're not going to be. Nobody's going to be asked to put their hand in their pocket on the day. They'll come away with a card. It's got a QR code on it. It'll sit in their pocket, and then hopefully maybe later on they'll think about, oh, what's that? Click on it. Have a look at the website. If you're thinking about if you've got the financial capacity to do it, pledge a little bit of money.
Yeah, cool. So obviously we talk about where we're at right now with the foundation. What does the future look like for foundation? Obviously there's been a couple of things floated around about investment and stuff, and obviously that's something that would need to be discussed if it ever came down. What do you see that looking like in the future?
Well, look, the foundation owns 71.5% of the club, and we're not interested in selling any of our shares. I mean, I think there's investors floating, potential investors and investors floating about Scottish football, and we've seen a couple get involved, and I'm not sure that any of those have been great for either of the parties that are involved. You can see one in Edinburgh, which already looks a little bit fractious.
Yep.
So I think from our perspective, you need to, two thoughts. First of all, you need to look long and hard at any potential investment. On the other hand, you don't want to pass up something that could be very good, that could actually benefit the club. We've talked at the Foundation of Hearts board about how we would think about any of these things. And I think for us, there's probably three kind of red lines for us in terms of any investment. The first is that it would need to be something which is a game changer. So there's no point in selling a wee bit of your club to leave yourself in approximately the same position. I mean, we're very fortunate in that we've benefited from investment from James Anderson, which he's looked for nothing back, and we've also have a differentiator in terms of the money that comes in from the foundation. So we consider ourselves to be firmly in third position in Scotland, certainly in terms of revenue and in terms of where we can compete. And there's probably two other clubs that would see themselves as competing for that third slot, but we think we've got it strongly. But so unless you can have investment that comes in and is a game changer, and what game changer to me would be something that would allow you to break the old firm.
Yep. Then
really, what's the point? You sell a little bit of your heritage for something which leaves you in the same place. So what would you need to think about what would be a game changer in terms of that context. That's the first thing. Second thing is, from our perspective, we never want to see Hearts be a feeder club. The notion that we would be developing players that somebody else could just take away from us is not something that I consider to be what this club should be about. We develop our own players for our own success, and then and notwithstanding that, it's realistic that you'll develop players and then sell them at a profit, but that's your money, and and you reinvest that whatever way you want. And the third thing is, the Foundation of Hearts always has to be the majority owner of the club, where nobody is going to relinquish control. We've been there before, where the club's been a plaything of a rich man in the past, and I think that's not a route to success. Given that it's been so hard fought to establish fan ownership, we're not going to surrender that. So, those are three pretty high hurdles, I think, for any potential investment. But that's the way that we think about it.
And I think that a lot of fans maybe see the unseen investment. I know the stadium the infrastructure of the stadium's had loads of investment just purely for the success of the club playing in Europe. You need to hit certain criteria, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's two revenue streams for the club that we need to make sure that we do make work. One is European money, and we've got a good chunk this year. Wasn't quite so much last year, but it was good the year before that. So we've got to keep that coming. And I know in future years, given where Scotland's coefficient is now, it's going to be harder to achieve in future years. And the second thing is, and this is maybe where some other clubs have done a bit better than us, is over player trading revenue. And just in recent years, we haven't had the success of that. I think we've got the capability to do that, and I think everybody was really pleased with the transfer window that we've just had. Let's see how it plays out in the course of the next season. But I think there's an opportunity for us to do even better on that. So when we're firing on all of those fronts, then with the benefactor investment, with the foundation money that we have, again, I think that puts us head and shoulders above others, and again, I think removes some of the pressure that others are feeling to find external investment.
Yep. So we'll talk a bit about Hearts, the football team. What's your feelings for the season? How are you feeling? Obviously, we're all a bit deflated after Saturday, but what's your thoughts?
We all felt brilliant after Rangers. Thought, okay, this is us. We're back. We are flying. We are back. And then Dundee and Falkirk was. Well,
in your 5 years of supporting Hearts, you'll know that's the most Hearts thing ever.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Of course it is. But I thought we'd kind of moved on. I guess we've got 4 away games on the trot, and which is, between two SPL games, a cup game, and a European game. So I'm slightly worried what form we'll be in whenever we get back here for Foundation Day. But look, I think if over the course of the season you look at the squad that we've got, you benchmark that against other squads in Scotland, and you think, we've got to have a really good season this year. I'm really looking forward to Europe. We all know the challenges of playing Thursday, Sunday.
Yep.
But look, we're all we should be wise enough to the challenges of that, and some of the recruitment that we've done has got players who are kind of really experienced in Scottish football. So turning up on a Sunday at Dingwall shouldn't come as a surprise than what it's going to be like. So look, I'm really optimistic about the season, but as I said, it's the hope that kills you, isn't it?
Well, that's the most Hearts thing ever. Yeah. European nights again, obviously, there's something that the clubs, everybody that watches the podcast, Hearts fans, have all got their Rosenborg last season was our my dad's Bayern Munich and Leipzig for other people and stuff. European nights at Tynecastle, you can't beat them, can you?
Absolutely right. Although, look, I'm touching wood that we're not relying on 2 goals from Cammy Devlin to get us through.
That was a one-off. That was a one-off, like. Yeah. But well, thank you, Gerry. Like I said, anybody that would like to get more information about Foundation of Hearts or any of the future projects for the Maroon Mile and stuff, we'll put all the links in the podcast. But thanks again for talking to us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Liam. My pleasure.